Yeah, it's pretty crazy that people just sometimes, when they're know they're about to perish, they'll just like beg for their lives. You that animation doesn't get drawn a lot, but uh, since I typically try to aim for the head, I don't see that animation very often because I typically try to get them in one shot. But sometimes I run into that. But they don't want death to, they want Naughty Dog wants you to feel guilty for killing other people, which it's not like Uncharted where you're just mowing down guys left and right, and it's just like almost like John Wick, where it's just like ridiculous how many people you're killing, and you're not really even like thinking about your actions. Whereas this game, I mean, they did that a little bit in The Last of Us Part 1, but especially this game, they really try to make you feel guilty for killing others. Because like I've said before, people aren't heroes and villains. This isn't a Marvel movie where Joel and Ellie are here to save the day. They're people, they're survivors in the world of The Last of Us. I mean, of course, Ellie and Joel have extreme stories. Like, I mean, Ellie's immune, the only one immune that we know of at this point. But at the end of the day, they're people too. They're not, even though we root for them, they're not exactly the heroes, but they're not the villains either. No one really is in this world. It's just people trying to survive. That's why I get a little bit frustrated. And I admit, before The Last of Us Part 2 came out, I was kind of hoping Joel would die in a dignified way. I even have a video on my YouTube channel stating that. But looking back, I completely disagree with that, and I don't know why I said that. I mean, it's because I care about the characters. And just because I think that it was the right decision to kill Joel in the way they did, doesn't mean I don't care for the characters. Like, it wouldn't have made sense if Joel just died a heroic death and just like, died in a blaze of glory. I mean, of course, you can do that in other stories with different tones, like a Marvel movie or just a, John Wick movie or whatever, a big action movie where it's more, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Pulpy. And I mean, The Last of Us is a very grounded experience, It's not like Uncharted, which is pulpy. And yeah, I get people were like, "Oh, Joel would never run into an encounter like Abby's. He wouldn't have gone into that room." But the thing is, you got to understand, Joel is in a different time in his life, and he's changed. I mean, we saw him change in The Last of Us Part 1 from the start of the game, where he took on the mission to transport Ellie, and Ellie he had no emotional attachment to, didn't even know, just to him Ellie was a piece of cargo, as he said. And by the end of the game, you see him, the reason he didn't want to grow attached to Ellie was because of the pain he felt from losing his first daughter, but he eventually realized he was being foolish and he should let Ellie into his heart, and he did that, and that's when he started to change. So Joel can adapt, he can change. And I think the whole experience with Ellie in The Last of Us Part 1 made him more trusting of others, and maybe in a sense that's a pro and con, because maybe it made him trusting of others, but it also got him, in the end it cost him his life maybe. But at the same time, I think also having Tommy there made it so he's like, okay, if Tommy was the first to introduce himself to the group of people when they were in that room, So maybe like if you couldn't even tell on Joel's facial expressions, like okay, Tommy, you're gonna introduce yourself. Okay, I guess I'll trust you here. I'm Joel, and then what happened was the air was sucked out of the room, and then he immediately regretted that, and we know what happens from there. Um, so I think the people criticizing that, saying, "Oh, Joel would never be like, hey, Joel," and people are acting like Joel just went screaming and shouting there, "I'm Joel, look at me," you know. You can tell if you look back at that scene, he's a little bit apprehensive. But do I think Joel, if he had never met Ellie and had changed in Last of Us Part One, would still have done that? He probably would have been more on edge. And also, I gotta say, part of their job is going out on patrol. I think is what they called it. They would, you know, take out the infected, but they were also a community. So, they were part of this safe haven community, detached from the dangers of the outside world. And they would go on these patrols and look for infected and make sure they weren't uh, gathering around the outskirts of their community, which was protected by those walls. So, you know, Joel probably felt more secure, felt more safe than he had in many years. And maybe that's why he might have let his guard down in that situation. And many times when they would go out on those patrols, they would try to recruit people to join their community, because Tommy, you can tell Tommy's definitely is a little bit different than his brother, even though they're related. Tommy's it seems like he has more of an open mind. He's more open to people, and he's more welcoming to other people. So Tommy probably thought, we just helped Abby here. She fought alongside us, and they helped us escape. So let's see what they're up to, and maybe we can try to recruit them to our town, and build a stronger community. But obviously, that didn't happen. So I think Joel started to think more like his brother, and maybe Last of Us One Joel wouldn't have been okay with that situation. But I don't know. I just think people. I don't agree with people who say that Joel was out of character there. I mean, characters adapt, they change. And I think that it's good writing when you have characters change and develop. And yeah, I know we care for Joel and we love Joel and he deserved better. I get that people think that. Or I, you know, someone that loves Joel in my heart, I wish he never died. And I just wish Joel and Ellie the best. But at the same time, that wouldn't be realistic for the world that they live in. So it just it would have felt bizarre if Joel was just like, just died in Ellie's arms and just, did this amazing heroic sacrifice before he died. I think that just would have felt kind of cheesy, and it wouldn't have fit the tone of The Last of Us. So that's honestly, of all the criticism people give to this game, that's what bothers me the most, and I think that's what I disagree with the most. And I think a lot of people that just criticize that don't really understand fully. I understand we care for Joel and Ellie, but I care for Joel and Ellie deeply. But I wanted this to be a believable story, and I believe it. So anyway, I know I went on kind of a little bit of a rant there, but and yeah, I keep saying people have a lot of criticisms for this game, but I know a lot of people love this game. A lot of people think this game is amazing, a masterpiece. This game has won more awards than any game in history, and has got voted the most player voted awards ever. So I think really it is a vocal minority that dislike this game, and I don't disagree with all the criticism. I think this game um, is a little long. I think they could have cut it a little bit, and I think in some parts the pacing could have been better. But I don't think those are about the only gripes I have. I don't think any of those gripes really affect the experience because the pros of this game are so great. that I just think that the cons of this game really don't impact it at all for me. So anyway, let's get back to playing.
I think this is our boat, Captain.
Shit.
Dad, I'm taking Max away from here. He can't spend his life locked inside this rotten building. All he'll do is take on your weaknesses. When the soldiers killed Mom, you just stood there like a coward. What kind of example is that? You should have gotten angry. You should have made them hurt worse than they hurt her. I want Max to see what it looks like when people are willing to stand up for what they want, when they're willing to make something of their life. The world is harsh. It is up to us to change it. Only when weak may I carry my true strength. How they became a Seraphites. Maybe we'll come back someday. If we do, I hope you're not still sitting in that stupid fucking chair. Oh,
His kids ran off to join the Scars.
he was.
Jeez. Well, on the bright side,
Mom died.
family's keys.
What is wrong with you?
He's a skeleton. He doesn't need them.
I just don't understand how anybody willingly joins the Scars.
Why not?
Because they're an insane cult. That's why.
Well, in the QZs, people would refer to the Fireflies as terrorists. Fanatics.
We were naive. We weren't fanatical.
We blew up checkpoints and assassinated soldiers.
It's not the same.
I'm just saying...
Don't say shit like that at the stadium, okay?
Okay, alright.
She's got a point.
What time do you think it is?
I don't know. We got time.
All matter of perspective. Yeah, you could say Abby's a monster for killing Joel. You could say Joel's a monster for killing her dad. You could say Ellie's a monster for killing Abby's friends in the way she did. Yeah, like I was saying, so, I mean, it's all a matter of perspective. You know, if we never played as Abby, we probably would think, okay, she's a monster. She just killed Joel in that brutal way. If we didn't get the chance to play with it, play as her, and see her story and see what goes on in her life, it would definitely would have been harder to build any sympathy for her. And, like, I know a lot of people have a problem with this part of the game, just the people that just weren't into this game, and I'm not saying everyone does. Some people love Abby and love this part of the game and think it's really ballsy that they did this. And I ultimately grew sympathetic to Abby because I thought of it like this. What if in The Last of Us Part 1 we followed the story of Abby and we didn't follow Joel and Ellie? And then we play, I don't know, the whole game with the Abby, and then at the end we see Joel kill Jerry there, her father. And that was what if that was like the first time we ever saw Joel? Then we would see Joel as this asshole who just wiped out the Fireflies and killed the dad. It's like, and then yeah, we would probably hate Joel and probably hate Ellie come The Last of Us Part 2. So what if the whole story of The Last of Us was following Abby, you know? And that's really when I was like, okay, I can see where my biases are. No doubt I love Joel and Ellie. They're my favorite characters in this game series. But at the same time, I do understand the biases I have and how my biases were challenged. And also I just understand greater the cycle of violence that these two characters gone through, and just how exhausting it is, and how much to really push both the characters of Ellie and Abby here. So, but anyway, and I would say I think I like Abby. But for me, it's more not. I don't think Naughty Dog is forcing you to like her, but if you can grow sympathetic for her, you can ultimately understand why Ellie does what she does at the end of this game, and I think it makes it more gratifying in that way. But for those of you who haven't played it, who might be watching this, which I'm sure not many people that are watching this that haven't played this, but I don't want to dive too deep into the spoilers yet. Just got to see the world from other people's perspectives. And I think that's really a statement for the real world that we live in right now. And I'm not trying to get political or anything, but I think people are so tribal. I think we can't we can't agree with a lot of things in the real world because we're so tribal. It's, oh, you're either with us or against us. And again, I'm not trying to get political, but you really see that with Democrats versus Republicans. So that's just my perspective, and that's um, how in some ways this game has changed the way I think, and just think about life and humanity, and also just how tribal we are.
Hey, Alice. You want a pet her? It's okay. Yeah, see?
No.
Well done. You can go see her now if you want.
Is she gonna be okay?
Yeah, actually. Hey.
They're just kids.
I know.
What happened to us?
Maybe we stopped looking for the light.
Maybe.
Look for the light. What the fireflies used to say.
I'm gonna go check on the girl.
Okay.
Keep coming back to this. She keeps visioning this. I think this is really the moment where I started to become really sympathetic for Abby. I think I forgave her for what she did to Joel. Um, uh, I got choked up at that last flashback there, and I think I just realized I was thinking like deep down, I think Abby is a good person, but I think violence can change people, and I think it changed her. And yeah, I just think she deep down is a good person and does care for others, but because of violence, it changed her and it caused her to become obsessed with killing Joel, um, and that obsession cost her her relationship with Owen. And I don't agree with what Mel said there. I think she's just jealous, and I think that's why she called out Abby like that. Um, and that way, I feel Abby is really lonely at this point, or she feels lonely and mentally. So I just at this point I do kind of feel bad for her, and I this is where I think I forgave her for what she did to Joel. Um, yeah,
Lev!
it's kind of hard to articulate all the
Lev! Come back here, please!
thoughts that go through my head with this game, but just it's brilliant in that way. Well, thoughts and the emotions. She saw her dad in a good light because she feels like she did the right thing and what her dad would do. And that's why she had a more optimistic
Lev?
dream there.
Lev?
Ellie sees how bad a shape they are in. So she's putting a pause on her mission. She doesn't know what to do. She's gonna try to head to the boat here. She can't let it go.
I can't let you leave. I'm not doing this. No. I'm not gonna fight you. Yes, she will. He's not a part of this. You made him a part of this. Okay. Okay. No. Just take him.
She finally realized that killing her not help her get over her trauma. Just tough to watch that. It's just tough because you care so much for Ellie. You just realize how much Joel's death has affected her. She saw Joel. She remembered a positive image there. Which helped her there. Helped her find the strength to let go of it. Let go of the violence. It still gets me extremely choked up. Oh. She's gonna try to play the Pearl Jam song. Just a little bit out of tune. Her missing fingers. Yeah, no off tune. She can't play it as well because of her obsession. She lost him. There's Joel. Right after the dance.
What are you drinking?
Coffee.
Where'd you get that?
Those people that came through last week.
Oh.
A little embarrassed as to what I had to trade to get it, but it's not bad.
I had Seth under control.
Yeah, I know.
And you need to stop harassing Jesse about my patrols.
Okay. Dina. Is she your girlfriend?
No. No, that was just one kiss. It doesn't mean anything. I don't know why she did that.
But you do like her.
So stupid.
I have no idea what that girl's intentions are, but I do know that she would be lucky to have you.
You're such an asshole.
I'm not trying to.
I was supposed to die in that hospital. My life would have fucking mattered. But you took that from me.
If somehow the Lord gave me a second chance at that moment, I would do it all over again.
I'm with you there, Joel.
Yeah. I don't think I can ever forgive you for that. But I would like to try.
Not like that.
Okay. I'll see you around.
Yep.
Last interaction. Last interaction. That was the night before Joel died. She remembers she was able to forgive Joel. And how much Joel appreciated that. So she feels now more at peace. She feels like she can move on more. Sure, this is open for interpretation, but that's what I believe. She can move on. Ellie finally was able to get that obsession out of her head. So that's why that ending was kind of like a sense of relief. And I know a lot of people think this is a sad ending, which it is sad in a sense, no doubt. But it's also just a sense of relief that you know that Joel didn't die knowing that Ellie still cared about him and their relationship and wanted to rekindle that relationship and get back to the father-daughter like relationship that they had before. But the next day Joel died, so they weren't able to do that, but at least Joel died knowing Ellie wanted to do that. And that was probably a heavy burden lifted off Joel's shoulders, and that's why you saw him get so emotional when Ellie said, "I would like to forgive you."